What's good, YouTube? Conversations with Ken back tonight for our very first installment of our relationships and marriage. But let me be politically correct, the marriage and relationship series. First time doing it, super excited about this thing. I have four phenomenal guests. This conversation can go anywhere, and I literally mean anywhere. So if you know somebody that would love this type of conversation or that would have like to get in on it, you may want to send a smoke signal tonight. So go ahead, subscribe to the channel if you've not already done so, like this video and share it because I promise you this one gonna be hot. Let's get it.
Searching for greatness in a sea of the dying and shameless, a sea of the aimless. I don't wanna be one of the nameless. I'ma wake up with the mindset that one day I'm gonna make it, and I don't think I'll be fine if I don't break my limitations. Don't try to stop me, I exist to write my own story. I'll make a decision if I want some peace or if I want the glory. Yeah, don't want a life that is complacent or possibly boring. I just want a life that is worth every day exploring. My whole life I just wanted someone who would notice me. My whole life I just wanted to be somebody to be. Yeah, I just wanna be great. 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 Yeah, I just wanna be great.
Let's get it. How y'all doing?
Good. Great.
How y'all like my new intro?
Good.
I liked it. I liked it.
That was good.
That was hours of work, man. Like I told you all, I am literally doing this thing as we go.
You're doing great.
I appreciate it. So look, let's get this thing started tonight, man. Look, first of all, appreciate you all for jumping on. Appreciate you all for accepting my invitation. I got four very intelligent, very opinionated ladies that are going to talk to me tonight about a subject that most people don't even want to think about. That's their word, y'all. That's their word, the S word that a lot of you all have a problem with. So before we get going, go ahead, guys, do a couple things for me. Number one, subscribe to the channel. You want to be notified when these things go live. Number two, like the video. Liking the video helps us get the word out to more people. And then last but not least, you want to share it because, yeah, somebody gonna want to hear this one. I can almost guarantee it. So as we get going, if you're watching, drop your city, drop your state in the comments so that we can see who all is on and where you guys are chiming in from. But in the meantime, I want my panelists to introduce themselves, starting with Miss Samantha.
Hi, guys. I am Samantha. I currently live here in Louisiana. Been here about 30 years now by way of California. So just happy to be here and be on this panel with you guys.
I didn't know you were from California. I never knew that.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Coach Clay.
Hi, I'm Coach LaWanda Clay. I'm from Mississippi, the big town of Centerville, to be exact. Currently live in Jackson, Mississippi. Married, 5 kids. I'll tell y'all about their ages later on. But yeah, thanks, Ken, for the invitation.
I appreciate you coming, Miss Cassie, with that fire camera.
Well, if you're from Mississippi, you would know me as Cassandra Grace. I am from Woodville, country girl through and through. LaWanda, when I come to Jackson next month, you're going to have to send me your phone number and we can go have lunch. Okay. Let me get back up.
Will do.
I always think me and LaWanda could be friends, like for real.
We could. Yeah.
I live now in Gilbert, Arizona, south of Phoenix. And I'm not gonna lie, y'all, I miss home. Ken, I love you. Thank you for inviting me. Because I know I'll give some interesting opinions on some of your topics. So okay, but I'm looking forward to tonight. I'm truly looking forward to it. Thank you for having me.
But ironically, it's a lot of things that I post, and the first thing I think about is I can't wait to see what she's gonna say.
Well, my friends do say, girl, you're a little bit touched. So, you know.
Touch is a good thing. Touch is not a bad thing.
I know.
Miss Dillon, introduce yourself to the world.
Don't be telling me my last name.
You don't tell them.
No, I'm kidding. My name is Maisha. I am originally from Metairie. After college, I moved to Maryland. I lived out there for about 6 years. I've been back in Louisiana since 2016. I live in Geismar right now. I am a single mom to a 8-year-old daughter, and that's pretty much it.
And her last name Dillon.
Yes, my last name is Dillon.
Yeah. All right, guys. We have a series of questions tonight that we're going to cover. And for those of you who don't know, our topic tonight is ladies' relationships with the word submission. Wish I had that sound effect. Dun, dun, dun. So let's get it started, man. Let's get it started. Our first question is very simple. Starting with Samantha, what is your personal definition of the word submission?
I would have to say that my personal definition of submission, it would be just trusting my livelihood to someone else. Just simply put, submitting to somebody else, they would definitely have to be able to take care of business, So for me personally, I just feel like that would be just me supremely trusting in somebody else.
I don't know if we lost Ken.
I don't know.
Lost Ken. So we may have to go to the next person.
That's what
that
I
was
was
my
thinking,
definition.
Samantha. LaWanda?
Okay. Well, my definition of submission is yielding to my husband's leadership, because I know with my heart of hearts that he's earned the respect and my trust to just do what's best for us, for me, for him, for our family. That's my definition of submitting, just yielding to his leadership.
And you see what happened. I mean, all in all, that wasn't planned. That was the devil trying to kill my computer. But you see, even in the absence of a man, a good woman will hold it down.
Absolutely, Ken.
That's right.
All right, so I appreciate y'all holding it down, man. So where do we stop off? I know Sam was going. I saw LaWanda just did her thing. All right, so Cassandra, let's do it, man. Here, hey, before she get going, y'all scrap up.
Oh no, my definition, I promise, is very simple, very straightforward. It's how I show respect to my husband and his decisions. That does not mean I don't that I always agree because, maybe that'll come later. But it's how I show that respect, regardless of what his decision is. Now, it takes trust, just like Coach LaWanda said, but it's how I show that respect, whether it's in his decisions or in our interactions publicly. It's all about showing him that adoration and that respect. And plus, I need him to do everything I want, so I have to do those things. I have to show him. Okay, I'm sorry. Let me shut up.
That's so big of you, because I guarantee if I ask you that question, how long you been married?
Actually, well, for those who don't know, I was previously married 12 years, but we all make mistakes. My current marriage, it'll be a...
I caught that.
Stop. It'll be a year. Actually, only a year on the 26th.
Congratulations.
Oh, newlywed. Congratulations.
I'm proud of you, though, man. I've seen your transformation in your mindset when it comes to that. So you need to go meet LaWanda. I need to meet your husband. I need to take some tips from that fella.
He's cool as heck, and he's from California. But yeah, and you asked about, in a different question, about what we saw growing up. I had to go dig back there, and make some changes. But anyway, moving on.
Maisha, your personal definition of submission.
I would say it is your ability to trust your husband, trust his point of view. It is your ability to have faith that he's going to be able to lead your family. And also that he also has the ability to respect and honor your opinions as well.
Nice. Now I'll admit that I run across a lot of guys that have the definition of their word misconstrued, or they attempt to use it, as a battering ram to force people to do things that they want to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I've matured because at one time in my life I probably was that person, but now I understand that in order to have a woman who openly wants to submit, first of all, like you all say, she has to feel comfortable with your leadership, meaning that she understands that your decisions won't be one-sided, that she knows that regardless of what you decide, even if it's something she doesn't agree with, that she understands that at the end of the day, you're doing it with the best intent. And even though I've always done things with the best intent, the way that you deliver it matters also. So you got to learn how to deliver it in a way where a woman understands that, okay, he's doing it for the betterment of me. I understand that I can let my walls down and let him do his thing. Even in the end of the day, if that decision is not the right decision, that he's going to take ownership of it and do his best to correct it. And I've had to mature in that area myself to get to that point, because at one time it was like, yep, I said it. What we waiting on? Why are we still standing here looking like there's something else to be said after this? King and spoke. But it's a maturity thing. It's a maturity thing, and unfortunately, a lot of people, regardless of age, never get to that point where they understand that it works a whole lot better when they feel like that their perspective and that their opinion is valued just as much.
That's important.
Absolutely.
Sam scratched her head like, I wish he would have tried that shit with me.
No.
All right, that was excellent, guys. So look, for those of you who are just joining, go ahead and submit. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Go ahead and hit the like button and share this information with somebody that you feel would like to be a part of this conversation. So question number 2, and Cassandra kind of touched on that one. Do you think that seeing a submissive woman in your childhood is important? And ironically, I want to start with Cassandra this time.
Okay, so when I think about this, and I'm like, I think it is important. It's just like being raised in the church. It's important to establish certain behaviors or learn certain things in your childhood so you can go in your adulthood, you can pull those things back out. So for me, of course, as a kid, I had no idea what submission was. I had no idea that when I saw my grandmothers, my aunts and my mom, or my uncles and their wives, how they, I'm going to use the word served, and I hope that doesn't offend anybody, but how they served their husbands, whether it was how they would cook or clean, or how they would, like, I can recall situations where my grandfather would say things and my grandmother would say, okay, Jennings. She would call him by his government name. She wouldn't, it was never yelling or arguing in front of us. It was always respecting his decisions, making sure the house was taken care of. And it was the same way, whether those women I was around worked or not. Those men always provided for the home, made sure the kids, their wives, had what they needed. So I believe that it's important to witness certain things as children so that we know what it's supposed to look like. I'm not saying none of us grew up seeing things that the men in our families did and we were like, what the heck? But it's just seeing that there was a degree of honor and respect that we did see. So even if there was a little bit of dysfunction somewhere, we did see some good things growing up. Because I live, like I said, I live in Arizona. I live on the West Coast. And I swear to you, guys, I go to like dinners or functions and in the South. My husband want to plate. Okay, babe, what you want to eat? I'll just get him and go fix it. It wasn't about, and out here, it's a little bit different, watching some of the people we interact with. I've even gone to engagements where somebody else's husband bringing me food. I'm like, what the hell? I didn't know they do that. Yes, Lawanda. Yes, ma'am. Yes, that has happened to me more than once. And I'm like, wow, that's kind of sort of backwards, but okay. So yes, and for me, as I got older and I matured and dealt with, like I said, that first mistake, I had to change my mindset and understand that it doesn't matter if I disagree with my husband. It is still my job to make sure that man is good, that he's taken care of, that he's respected, that he knows I appreciate everything he does. And again, there's always a way to vocalize when you don't agree, but it's the way you do it. Like you said earlier, Ken, it's how you tell people stuff. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I told you, I do believe witnessing those things helped me as I matured in what healthy relationships are supposed to look like.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing though that culturally through generations, how things have changed. How you say there's a difference between West Coast living and the way we do things in the South. There's a big difference between the way our grandparents did things, the way our great grandparents did things, mm-hmm. and the way that women and men today interact. I was really glad to hear that you mentioned the whole thing about the work thing not really being an obstacle that prevents people from doing what they need to do. Mm-hmm. I know that's one that we hear a lot. That got a job. Grandma didn't work, so you can't expect me to do what grandma did because grandma didn't have to work. Which I've asked my grandmother, and she says she may not have had a physical job, but women back then had tons of kids.
Absolutely.
So they took that whole thing about being a stay-at-home wife seriously. That the labor that they had to do inside the home was probably more than you would do if you had a traditional 9-to-5. So mm-hmm. I appreciate you for touching on that, Miss Maisha. Is it important?
I think it is important. I mean, you can't understand something that you've never seen or that you've never witnessed. So I think seeing that as a child, you carry that with you as an adult, and so if you've never seen it, then you don't know. I remember when I moved to Maryland, I was a fish out of water out there. It's like coming from the South and, fixing whoever you're dating their plate or cooking for them and stuff like that. And they're like, what?
Yeah.
Or just the, like Cassie was saying, or some of the women out there, it's like if you've never seen it, if that wasn't a part of how you grew up and part of your culture, then it's something that's foreign to you.
Right.
You see it a lot more down south, but when you go in other places, you go up north and stuff like that, it's not something that is that's done.
Jesus.
It's
So
it's very rare.
it's not done in the north.
Not really.
It's not done on the West Coast. And my brothers in the South, we struggle. Is there anybody on the call from Chicago? Do I have any Minnesota people? Let's so we can see what's going on in the north, because right now we 0 for 2. Coach, what you got?
Well, yes. I saw submission. I saw submissive women when I grew up. Not a lot, but I did. I also saw women who were definitely not going to submit. I saw what that looked like.
Going to. Like it
not
wasn't
going to submit.
Even a choice.
No. And I've seen men submit to their women. So it was interesting. I think I saw a post where Maisha had said, like she just spoke on, it's hard for you to do something that you never saw done, or something to that effect. So for me, it was a long time where I would just try not to mimic what I saw, because a lot of stuff I saw I knew was not right. Like seeing a man do so much to try to satisfy his woman, whether they were married or shacking. It just it's okay to be in a relationship and speak their love language and things like that, and make them happy, provide a home for the family, but there comes a time where when that woman is not yielding, or that woman is not appreciative to you, like, come on, man, now where is your leadership in the whole situation? Somebody got to stop the foolishness. But yeah, I think submission, I think it's something that they should see growing up. Now, that doesn't mean that if it's even your child, it doesn't mean that your child is going to right off the bat be submissive. But I do think that they need to see it.
Look, we have someone chiming in from New York.
Oh, awesome.
Michelle say, I'm looking at some of her comments. She say it's not the whole region. She say everybody is different depending on how they were raised.
Yeah,
and it depends on how the woman was and what her relationship history is. I absolutely agree. Can never paint anything with a broad brush, because you have some people within certain families that some are, some are not. So totally get that. All right, Sam, does it matter who you see, what you see?
I think it does. I think it matters as a whole, on every role, not just submissive, necessarily the word, because a lot of people just get hung up on that word, submissive.
Yeah.
I think it's the role that everybody plays in a household, period. The husband, the wife, the father, the mother, the children. Everybody has a role. It's important for children to grow up seeing the roles played, in every household, so that they all know, just like the other ladies, touched on. I think everybody said pretty much the same thing. And in terms of the fact that it matters what we see in our homes, you know. And I mean, I grew up, my grandmother never worked. She didn't even drive. Um, but she had 7 children.
Oh, she worked.
My grandfather, by the time he came home, he had a hot meal every day, you know. But he was also a man that provided. You know, I saw both aspects of it. I saw a strong male role that provided, you know, and then I saw a strong woman that also provided for her house. You know, even though she didn't go outside of the home, she still was a strong provider because she took care of this home and made sure that by the time he came home, it was a home. You know, he came home to something. You know, all that hard work that he did outside of the house, which I think is important. You know, for anybody. When you go outside of your house and you work all day, you're battling already outside. You don't want another war when you come home.
No, that's right.
So by the time you get home, if you got your partner there and they've made this home for you, you know, it works. It makes it all worth it. You know, and you can fight another day. You can go on another day, you know. So I just think, you know, in a nutshell, yes, it's important for us to see all roles played.
Now, I'll say this too. For men, I'm gonna tell you how it matters because growing up, there wasn't a lot of men in my life when I grew up. The constant man that was there was my uncle and my aunt. Anybody that knows me knows I always tell a story about my aunt. My aunt was probably the most submissive woman I've ever met. I consider her to be the perfect wife. My uncle worked, and my aunt basically took care of home. And there was absolutely nothing that she did not do or would not do to make my uncle happy. He worked, and when he came home, everything was laid out for him. Whether it was food, whether it was apparel to go to work the next day, whether it was bath water, everything he needed was taken care of. So seeing the type of wife that she was, that was my expectation coming out into the world. And then to find out that everybody wasn't like that, it was a rude awakening for me. So it was an adjustment on my end too to see somebody who had all those attributes, and then to know that there are people out there who didn't take their role as seriously. So that it kind of threw me for a loop too. I'm gonna try something here. I'm getting a little feedback. Let me see about
You're mute, Ken.
All right, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
All right. Hopefully it works better without that microphone. But yeah, seeing my aunt, like I say, the picture of submission, did everything that she could possibly do for my uncle until he died. And on his deathbed, that's what he said, that the only thing that he regretted was that he didn't tell her that he appreciated her enough because of everything that she did for him. I mean, she was the epitome of a submissive woman. And, you know, that was my expectation coming out into the world. Great conversation, guys. The comments are blowing up. So for those of you who are joining the conversation, who have not done so already, go ahead and like this commentary. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you've not done so already. And then go ahead and share it. It's going to be some good stuff, man. It's going to be some good stuff. So question number 3. is, should a man marry a woman that is not willing to submit? Now, we know that we have some very opinionated people in our society today that would flat out tell a dude, it ain't happening. Even if you mention the word, they draw up in a knot. So should a man marry a woman who openly admits that she has no desire to submit? Sam?
I think I think it's all based on choice, you know, and everybody has a different opinion of submission, you know. Um, I can't really say if I feel like he should or he shouldn't. Because it really just is based on what his expectations of submission is, you know. Um, Marriage is work, and it's work on both sides. So you definitely have to be willing to work. So I guess I'm leaning more towards no, because of the fact that if you're saying no from the beginning, then you're not willing to work on whatever it is, you know, whatever should come up. You're not willing to work. You have just completely shut down everything. You've turned the off switch on. So I guess I would say no.
Yep, and that's what I think. If I look at I look at everything from a business perspective, but I think about it like a job interview. When you come to a job interview, the day that you interview, that is the very best that you will ever be, because your whole purpose that day is to impress somebody to the point to where they'll hire you at. Now, once you get the job, you get comfortable, you become familiar with the other staff members, and you begin to slowly lack on some of the things you said that you would do. The very first day that you interview is the absolute best that person will ever be. I think in marriage, it not necessarily to that point, but if somebody tell you what they're not going to do in the beginning, chances of them changing their mind later on down the line could happen, but you kind of fighting an uphill battle. So I tend to agree with you. What you say, Coach?
Coach would advise not. Don't do it, brother.
No.
Don't do it. And the reason why I say don't do it is, you know, when everybody's winning, everybody's happy. Mm-hmm. Everybody's joyful. Everybody's, you know, having a good time. But when the chips fall, and if you plan to stay married long, the chips do fall sometimes. The chips don't always land where you think they're going to land. But the blame is going to be on the husband. So if you're not dating someone that you trust, that you can you know, depend on a little bit, if your relationship is going to the next level, if you don't see him as someone you respect on a dating, you know, scale, then it's going to be hard for you to submit. It's because it's not somebody that you're willing to depend on, to trust, to follow. If you in a relationship and you are the woman and you're always having to lead, make decisions, to do everything, it's going to be hard for you to submit, for a woman to submit to him later on down the road. And if she's not willing to do that right now, not even the least bit, I would say move on. Respectfully.
Respectfully. I'm almost afraid to ask, man, because she was squinting her eyes and twisting her nose and everything else while everybody was talking. So,
who are you talking about?
Talking about you. Go ahead and give it to me.
Look, I'm gonna do the way I do my husband when I don't want to answer something. Can you repeat the question?
Look at the bottom of your
screen. You say who, me?
Look at the bottom of the screen. See, I Cassandra proof this conversation. Bottom of the screen. I don't even have to say it.
Okay, I'm gonna go back to something Coach LK said earlier. Things that she witnessed when she was growing up.
Mm-hmm.
Because to me, it depends on the man's expectation. If he's a man who is a beta male who wants to be led by a woman, then of course he's going to want a woman who's not going to submit. Right or wrong? Because he wants to submit. He wants to be led. So in that scenario, I'm going to say brother male, that woman, take her. Because somebody like me wouldn't want you.
Yeah.
Honest. Now, if he is a strong man and he needs that woman to allow that type of, and I hate to use the word control because it's used out of context when it comes to submission, but it is a certain level of control that you're trusting your mate with. Then if she says, oh no, I can't do that, then no, he should never, because it's going to be a contentious relationship and somebody going to raise their hand one day and say, you know what, I can't do this anymore. And that just wasted years of your lives. So I think that if he wants a traditional relationship, a traditional marriage, then no, he should not marry someone who is flat out telling him no, because you believe what people tell you, you believe what you see, you believe what they show you. And don't think that, oh, they love me, they're going to change. That's a lie. You know, let them go. Move on.
Yeah. I have to ask.
Mm-hmm.
What is your definition of a beta male?
Oh, goodness.
The opposite of me. Okay, let me say this. I have zero issue with submitting to my husband, and he will say that. Because I am very logical, I tend to overthink everything. So when he comes to the table with something he's thinking about, my brain is the little lady in there. She's just keying away on a computer and spitting out these questions, and I just start asking questions. And long as you can make everything make sense to me, I'm good. And it's like, oh, okay, babe, I'm good with that. Go ahead. So for me, a beta male is the exact opposite. Cassandra, what you want to do? How you feel about blah, blah, blah? Oh, no, you do whatever you want. It could be something as simple as, what movie will I see tonight? Oh, whatever you want to see. Bro, can you make a damn decision? I'm asking you. I mean, I have always been, and again, this is another word that I think is used out of context, a very driven and independent person. It doesn't mean I do not like a man to step up and say, I got you. It just means that I grew up with a whole bunch of men and he taught me how to do a whole bunch of crap. But I like the fact that I spent my entire career making decisions. As a single mom, after my divorce, I spent that entire time making decisions. I love the fact I have someone in my life now where I don't have to think about that all the time. Babe, the ice maker isn't working. Okay, I'll take care of it. My Tesla being delivered tomorrow. I gotta have a charger installed. Babe, I got it. Don't worry about it. Babe, the new car coming. I need my windows tinted. Babe, I got you.
Man, job for the car even come.
And that's true because it's not here. It won't be here tomorrow. But I love when a man is a man. It doesn't matter that I work 50, 60 hours a week. My husband, he takes care. He shows me that he protects me. He loves me. He got me no matter what. And to me, that's what a beta male is, just the opposite. I'm not going to trust him with my well-being. I'm just not. Because he'll be asking me, I'm over here on the couch sick of the dog, babe, who do we pay the light bill to? Let me stop. You know what, Ken? I'm going to stop. Because you're just trying to...
All right, Maisha, should a man marry a woman that is not willing to submit?
Well, I want to piggyback on what Cassie said, it's preference. You know, not every man wants a woman who is going to submit. You know, I have friends and I have dated people who they're not, I know you don't like these terms, alpha males. You know, they just weren't those types of men. And so it doesn't work for me because I'm not looking for a man who wants to submit. That I have no desire to date a man like that. I have no desire to lead and to be the head of the household. I have no desire to want that. So to date a man who wants that is not a good fit for me. But those types of men, they're not looking for a woman to submit to them. So it's personal preference. You know, I can't say, you know, a man shouldn't marry a woman who doesn't want us to submit to him because he may not want that. And that's okay. You know, everybody has their own preference on what it is that they want and what it is that they're looking for. I don't know that there is a right or wrong answer.
I can rock with that. So look, for those of you who are just joining, welcome to the show. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Go ahead and like this video. And if you are so inclined to do so, share it with someone that can benefit from it. We would greatly appreciate it. All right, so here comes the question of the night, the midpoint of our conversation.
Dun, dun, dun.
Why do most women have an issue with the word submission? Let's do it, Samantha. What you think?
I think, simply put, because it's been used out of content. Everybody doesn't know what submission means. They just don't, and it means something different to everybody. So for a lot of people, they're going to have a problem with it because they don't understand the meaning.
Mm-hmm.
Simply put, I mean, that's just it in a nutshell.
Yeah, I agree. Coach.
Okay. User error. So I think similar to what Samantha said, they're taking it out of context. There is a negative connotation when in all actuality, submission is really a strength. It's not a weakness.
Absolutely.
I see submission as a strength. I've had people to tell me who've observed my husband and I, and they, you know, like women would be like, "Ooh, girl, you know, you're gonna have to teach me how to do that." And because really, and because it's just natural for me to allow him to lead and for me to yield to his leadership. And you know, when he says something, it's what he says. It's like I trust whatever he's leading us to. So it's not a time for us to argue or, you know, or debate what we're doing, where we're going. Of course, we have discussions, like normal people in a relationship. But you know, people have observed, and that's one of the reasons why I became a marriage and relationship coach. Is because for years people have been, you know, asking for advice and like step by step practical solutions to getting their relationship back on track or, you know, in a better position. It's because, you know, people have like, they feel like women feel like a lot of women, I'm not going to say all women, but a lot of women feel like they're signing up to lose something. They feel like when they submit to a man that they're going to be overshadowed or they're no longer important or their purpose is going to be lost. And it's so opposite. Yeah, it's so opposite. Like A lot of times my husband will tell me, girl, I don't know what I would do without you. Like, you know,
Yes,
people
he
come
is.
here to see you. They don't come here to see me. You know, he says stuff like that. And even like if I take a day off and people come in and I'm not in here, they even though that, you know, they come to see him, like in all actuality, they're looking around like, is she okay? Is everything gonna be? I mean, and he's like, she just took a day off. But yeah, I think it's because they just take it all out of context when they really submission is really a strength and not a weakness.
I agree. I agree. Cassandra?
Okay, so let me piggyback off of Sam and Wanda. So again, submission is not a form of weakness. And so many people equate that being submissive means I'm surrendering control of everything. How dare me do that? I cannot do that. Um, I believe personally that submission is a like a component of meekness. And the Bible says the meek
Mm.
shall inherit the earth. So you think that God would say the weak people going to inherit the earth? That wouldn't make sense, right? So
That's
I
valid.
just feel like that because meekness is to me it's a component of submission. It's just like what's the word? I'm thinking what's the must think bridal control. Because even though you're submitting to your husband, women who truly submit know if it's the right type of marriage, right type of relationship, you still have so much control. It's
Mm.
just not confrontational. It's just not contentious. It's just this quiet, subtle control because your husband knows that you
Right.
got him.
Right.
You got him. You at his side. You at his back. So okay, that's the first thing. The next thing, what I think is an issue, is that, and forgive me what I'm about to say. No, I'm being honest because the fact is that there were so many of us, and I'm saying us, even though I grew up in a two-parent home, but there are so many of us who grew up in a single-parent home. So we didn't get to
Hmm.
witness the dynamic, that healthy dynamic. Like you said, I think Lawanda was saying the different roles that you see played: the mother, the wife, the father, the husband. They didn't get to see that, so they don't understand truly what the word means to submit. And then the other thing is, whether they witness that or not, you know how people have these bad relationships, because we've all had relationships where we were like, oh my God. Being in a situation that leaves an emotional mark tends to make us not want to repeat any of the actions that we took in that relationship. And that's just baggage that we carry into that relationship, that next relationship, the one that really could have been good. So
Yeah.
it stopped it again. You feel like, oh my God, if I give up this control, I'm going to end up back there. I'm going to repeat what I did back there. So I think there are several factors that go into why women, it's like submission is a bad word. And it really isn't.
Yeah. All right, Maisha.
Okay. I think that, it is a term that means something different to each person. And a lot of people, when they say submission, they immediately think control, like what the other ladies said. And if it's something that you've never seen, then it's hard for you to understand it. I grew up in a household where my parents were very old school. My mom was 18, my dad was 20 when they got married, and they're still married to this day. They're in their 70s, so they've been married for 50 something years. My mom was a stay-at-home mom. She was submissive to my father. And the dynamic that I saw with them was it wasn't so much about control, they just had opposite roles. My dad was more of the hands-on, work with his hands type of person. My mom was more of like the book smart person. So they kind of balanced each other out. If my dad didn't know something, he relied on my mom. You know what I'm saying? So like, yeah, he was the head of the household. Yes, my mom submitted to him, but it was one of those things where it's like, it wasn't one of those things how people will say, oh, you have no voice, you have no opinion. I think a lot of it is people don't quite understand what the word means, and it has a negative connotation to it. So that's why I think a lot of women have an issue with it. But again, it's a term that means something different to everyone, and everyone, you know, puts their own spin on it based upon what they know of the word and what they have seen growing up.
Yeah.
And it's hard to understand something that you've never seen.
I think it's a combination of everything that we've talked about so far. A lot of people have never seen it, so they don't understand what it looks like. I also think that the media has portrayed it in such a bad way. You know, for a lot of people, their version of submission or what they envision submission being is what they saw in The Color Purple. To where if you submit to a man, you're gonna get whooped. He's gonna abuse you, and at the same time, I think a lot of men have taken it out of context, have used it as a weapon, and unfortunately, there are not enough of us men out there who are actually doing things the right way, so the way we make women feel that they can do it willingly and that it's not anything that's going to go against them or it's going to hinder them. So we're not doing a good job of making it a safe place for them to come and do it. And when it comes to a definition, I really think that, you know, to some degree, submission is like vulnerability. It's like you create an environment where a person feels comfortable being them. They know that the things that you do, like I said earlier, are going to be done for the betterment of everybody. And they're a little bit more in tune to do it. So I think what we talked about up to this point and everything that you guys said in that question was absolutely where we needed to be on that one. So great job with that. So once again, for those of you who are just joining, go ahead and hit this subscribe button. I want to say the submit button so bad. Hit the subscribe button. Go ahead and like the video and go ahead and share it.
You wish it was a button that says submit.
Just press that joker. Press. Now, I told you all that I was gonna throw y'all a curveball. I think now is a great time to give y'all this curveball. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna show you all a video. The conclusion of the video. Let's talk. This is a video that I saw on TikTok that actually shows just how far we are away from people actually being to submit. So I hope this thing works right this time. Let's see. All right. Can y'all see it?
Yes.
Yes.
Guys, I want to give you guys a quick little tip on how to make a first impression last. Okay, so I've been talking to someone for literally like 2 days now, and we decided to have our first meetup, link, date, whatever you want to call it. And just through our conversation, I know for a fact he is an avid cigar smoker. He enjoys a good cigar over a glass of brandy or whiskey. I can't remember which one. I think it was whiskey. But I picked up on that little mental note. And I remember that my dad is a cigar smoker. He has a really nice collection. So before getting on the road for our date today, I decided to stop by my parents' house and actually pick up a cigar. And my dad actually threw in a cigar cutter. And my mom, being the mom that she is, was like, "Oh my God, Mary, you can't take it just like that and hand a cigar and a cutter, wrap it." And I'm like, "Well, what do I have to wrap with?" Her crafty self had some twine and a paper bag. So I wrapped a cigar in literally a paper bag. I folded up and some twine, and I really hope this is a good first impression. Hey, you guys, so I want to give you guys a quick.
All right. I hope that came through okay. Did y'all really? Could y'all hear that?
Yeah, kind of.
So basically what happened was the lady went out on a date with a guy. I guess they had been on a couple of dates or whatever, and she wanted to bring him a gift for this particular date. So her dad was a cigar smoker, so she stopped by Dad's house, got a cigar for him, and she was gonna take that to him as a gift on the date. Dad gave her a cigar, gave her the cutter, and the mom was a crafty lady, so the mom helped to get a bag, wrap the bag up, wrap the cigar up, put a piece of twine around it, and she gave it to him as a gift. So she put that on TikTok, and when I say they came for her, they came for her. They call that lady thirsty. They say that she was doing too much, that she was trying to buy this guy and everything. So I wanted y'all to look at that and just say, hey, do you think that a lady that buys a guy a gift on the first couple dates is doing too much?
No.
No.
I think that was very thoughtful. I think it spoke to her as being observant.
Mm-hmm.
And she obviously picked up on the gifting from her parents, who were willing to give and support her decision to give a gift. Because the men I know that smoke cigars don't give their cigars just willingly, especially if they collect cigars.
Right.
Yeah.
And her mom was crafty, made the bag and everything. So I think it speaks volumes for her just being thoughtful.
I agree. I mean, I think that it's no different than a man buying flowers and wine and bringing it, to present it to a woman, and he doesn't know her. On the first date, it's
Right.
traditional, or at least it used to be traditional for a man to bring flowers and wine or whatever to dinner. So, I mean, what's the big deal with her bringing a cigar? And because she dressed it up really nice, I don't feel like that would make her thirsty. I agree with Coach. She was observant, um, and she acted on it. Kudos to her.
I mean,
My first question is, which date is this? Was this like the first date, the third date, the second date?
I think it was date number 2.
Okay, so I'm a little bit different. I'm more of a traditionalist. It's our second date. I'm not trying to gift you anything. I don't know you. I mean, even though, first of all, like you said, LaWanda, if her dad gave up one of his cigars, I'm not gonna ask my dad to give up a cigar for some dude I've gone on my second date with. First of all, if it's my dad, they were probably expensive cigars. So I don't want him saying, you know what, baby girl, that cigar cost me blah, blah, blah. You gonna hook me up? No, Dad, keep your cigars. So if it had been like they've been going out for about a month or something, absolutely. Do something nice. You know him a little bit better. You have a better feeling for his character. But I'm just a traditionalist. I am such a traditionalist. So that's just me. Stop laughing at me, LaWanda.
I'm just listening, observing, and learning. That's all I'm doing.
She got her check marks over there, Ken.
I think the overall thought of it was nice. I don't know if date 2 that was a proper thing to do, and I'm only saying that because I've dated men who smoke cigars, and one thing I can say is that they're very particular about their cigars. So for it to be the second day or the second date, how do you know that is the type of cigar that he smokes? You know what I'm saying? What if he smokes like a mild flavor and you get him a bold one? You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't know how he's going to take to that. I think the overall thought of it is nice, but I think on date number 2, do you know him well enough to say, okay, I'm gonna gift him this cigar, and then how she stored it in the bag, this wine or whatever. It's thoughtful, but for people who smoke cigars, that's probably not the proper way to store the cigar. So I think that she probably should have learned and knew him a little bit better. I mean, I think the overall thought was nice and it's sweet, but I don't know that on date number 2, when you barely know this man and you don't know, enough about cigars, that was the right thing to do.
And let me circle back. Let me say this. Now, if that first date had her feeling that way, what I would have suggested for the second date was let me organize the date. And I would have taken him to a cigar bar. Even though I can't stand them, I would have done that.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't have.
Yeah. Yeah.
Go ahead, Ken.
Well, I admire her. I admire her assertiveness. And if you think about it, the fact that she thought about him is a thing that I do in coaching called deposits and withdrawals. You can't take out what you don't put in. So her thoughtfulness would be a deposit. Now, whether that, just like Maisha said, I happen to know cigar smokers, and I know you don't bring a cigar in burlap, look like burlap cloth or whatever.
Yeah.
You leave a cigar uncut and you put it in a plastic bag, a cigar bag, and you light it with a certain kind of match or lighter.
Yes.
So, we know that because of our experience. But when she showed up with that cigar, this will teach her about his character, how he responds to the fact that she brought him a cigar that wasn't in the plastic. Now, if he put all the emphasis on how she delivered the cigar, that might have been the end of their relationship because he might not have, accepted it well.
True.
So, I think just the thoughtfulness opens the door for whether or not it's a date number 3. Date 3 or 4, or if that was just the end of the relationship. But all in all, just like Samantha said, when men show up on the first date with flowers, he don't know if you're allergic to lilies or daisies. Just the thoughtfulness of the flowers. When you see the flowers, if you know you're allergic, you still accept them, or you say, can you put those over there if you're allergic to them? But the fact that he brought you flowers should mean something.
Yeah.
First thing I thought about when I saw that was she's an active listener. She listens.
Yeah.
They were sitting somewhere talking, and he was letting her know who he was and what he liked, and she listened to what he was saying. It tells me that she's assertive because she stepped up and did it like that. And Brandon actually said something I was thinking about. How do you all feel about a man bringing a gift on the first date?
I'm a traditionalist. I don't care. And if it's something I can eat, if it's chocolate, oh my God, don't bring me flowers. Bring me some chocolate. We good. I'll never turn down chocolate.
So in that situation, we're okay with double standards, right? Because that's kind of.
Did I not tell you, Ken, I am a traditionalist? Did I not say that? That was my preface.
Well, I know you. I mean,
me personally, I wouldn't feel comfortable accepting a gift on the first date from someone that I just met. Flowers is fine. Yeah. But I mean, if he was to buy me a random gift on the first date, I don't know. I don't know that I would feel comfortable accepting it.
I mean, it's not a wedding ring, it's flowers.
No, that's what I'm saying. Flowers is fine. But anything outside of that, I don't know about that.
And then I thought about this too. Technically, the gift that she got that guy, it didn't cost her a dime.
It cost her daddy.
It cost her dad.
I'm pretty sure he gave it willingly. I don't think she went in there and I think she went in there strong on her dad. The cigar didn't cost her anything. The cutter didn't cost her anything. And even the wrapping didn't cost her anything. So she gave him something that didn't cost her anything, but later on down the line could gain her everything. because honestly, men on dates like that are expected to do above and beyond. For a woman to say, "Hey, look, I'm listening to you, and I care enough about you to say that, or I'm interested in you enough to give you something that I think that you may like." Now, yeah, I know there are a lot of variables where maybe the wrong strength, it may be a cheap one, and he's used to something more expensive than that. But in that situation, I wouldn't even critique it. The simple fact that she thought enough of me to do something outside the box like that, the next time we went to a restaurant, I would think about it. And I may be willing to go up a star just because I know that she does think about me. Now, for me, I would say, well, she spent money on me. I would think about it. She spent money on me. He don't need to know that cigar was free.
So let me ask you a question though. So let's just say that he did know that. Would that make a difference?
No.
If it was okay, so it wouldn't make a difference if she went to the cigar shop, spent her time, educated herself on cigars, bought you a cigar versus saying, "Hey Dad, give me 2 cigars. Mama, wrap it up for me." Which one would hold more weight with you? Neither?
Well, I mean, I wouldn't feel bad either way. Now, if she can sit there and hold a conversation with me about it, that only makes it just that much more. Honestly, at that point, I would start to get a little worried myself because now she's going way overboard. At that point, it kind of feels like
So
She
that's
doing
when
too
you say
much.
she being thirsty.
yeah, she's doing too much.
Ah,
You've heard something that I asked for. You've went and done research. You went and talked to somebody. You and Googled it. You and watched YouTube videos. Now I'm worried.
Gotcha.
She could legitimately be one of those women on Lifetime.
Well, to answer his question, I feel like a man bringing a gift on the first date, again, is very thoughtful, very nice. My husband and I had our first date back in 2000. So, yes, I was in college, independent woman on the way, and I didn't let him pay for my food. I told him I would meet you there. Oh yes, because that's the way I was being raised. I will meet you there. You can't come pick me up, and I'm paying for my food. You paying for your food, and that's what we did. And he was like, okay. But all the while he was like, oh, I'm gonna break all that down, breaking all the walls down. But yeah, but now I have to think about my daughters. 21, 18, when they go out on a date, yes. If they tell me, Mom, he brought me a gift on the first date. Oh, really? That was very thoughtful. Nothing more, nothing less. Don't read too far into it. It's a gift. That's just thoughtfulness.
So if bringing flowers on the first date is frowned upon in certain circles, is it safe to say that chivalry should be dead up to a certain point?
I think flowers is fine. I don't know that chivalry should be dead. I mean, do I think it's dead? Kind of, unfortunately.
I'm mutually Samantha.
There you go, Sam. I got you.
It definitely has a low pulse.
Yeah.
She said he's not dead with his own life support.
Yeah.
and
I mean, you go out on
that's
a
true.
date with men. Men don't open the door. Like
stay
men.
there.
I mean, men don't pull out
Stay
your
there.
chair. I mean, some do, but it's
Girl,
you don't
I
always see
blame
that.
my husband.
Very few.
Yeah.
But you know something, and it's almost like everybody needs to be reprogrammed, because believe it or
Yeah.
not, there are some women out there that don't want that.
Yeah.
There are some women
Yeah.
that feel like,
Oh, I can open my own door.
I can open my own doors. I can pull out my own chair.
I'm not one of them.
So it's
Open
catch-22.
my door.
It's truly a catch-22 in that scenario. And when it comes to dating, things like that, I think men are just as confused as ladies are about what is accepted and what isn't now.
I think you do it until the other person says, I don't want you to do that for me. That way Because if you open a door for me and I don't want you to, then I would say that. But I'm with my husband. When we started dating, I would just stand there at the door.
I can see that.
Okay. So people out here don't open doors. I'm not people. So you gonna open it?
She's sitting there eating sunflower seeds while he All right, y'all. I'm not gonna hold y'all all night. We had two other questions that I wanted to ask y'all, but I'm gonna skip down to the last question that I had left. Yeah, I had two more. I'm gonna skip down to the last one. And that question is this. This is the question LaWanda got a kick out of.
Oh.
Are long-term boyfriends worth submitting to? So if you've been with a guy, I can't watch her while I'm talking. If you've been with a guy for 5-10 years and y'all still
No way. No.
y'all still
Move
not
on to the next
official,
guy.
No.
no hardware on the hand.
No.
Is that the question you want to ask us?
Really, I think.
Yeah, I don't know that you want to ask.
You
us.
already know the
It's
answer.
going to be unanimous.
Yeah, you should know the answer.
But when I saw the question, I was like, so what's his definition of long term?
I
That
know.
was my thought.
I'll ask this question then. Since I already know what the consensus answer would be.
Right.
At what time frame? Because I know nobody gives ultimatums anymore. I wouldn't suggest it to anybody anyway. But in what time frame do you expect the guy to have made up his mind about what he wants to do long term and make it official?
I think it depends on your age, because I'll be 50 this year. So when I met my husband, I was in my mid 40s. It's simple, bro. You got a year. You got a year to make up your mind what you want. Because I'm getting old.
How long you said?
1 year. You got 1 year. One. Again, I'm old. Now, if I was in my 20s or my early 30s, we could do 3-4 years. My max would be 5. And to me, 5 is a long time. But at my age, I'm old. I don't have, it's like if your intent is not to get married, then don't waste my time. Let me move on and wait, and hopefully the person who wants to be married, I'll meet them and we'll pursue that. But I'm just saying, I'm old.
It's okay. That's you don't have to explain.
Yeah, I
over there looking.
The only way you don't get old is to die young. So
I thank God for every day He gives me.
Yeah, aging is a blessing.
I agree with Cassie. I think it depends on your age. Like I'm 37 and I'm at an age where I do still want to have more kids. And so, if I do want to still have more kids, I can't date someone for 5, 6, 7 years. For me, I think maybe 1 to 2 years. Well, one I feel like is maybe like 2 years or so. And I mean, that's just, it depends on your age. I really do. I mean, I know that at the point that I am in my life, I'm not trying to date someone 5, 6 years before you decide whether or not you want to get married or not, especially knowing that I do want to still have at least one more child. But I do think that men know whether or not they want to marry you. It doesn't take them 3 years to figure that out.
Right.
Russ say they know in 3 months.
I don't know about 3 months, but
probation on your job. You got
but I don't think it takes them 5, 6, 7 years to decide whether or not they want to marry you.
Sam, what you
saying?
I think that they definitely have an idea. Because I mean, anytime that you embark into a relationship, you already know what you want or what you're expecting out of that person, especially if you're putting a title on the relationship. Us as women, we already know by the time we speak to you as men, and let me just put this out there, guys, because I'm a single, I'm 46 years old, okay? We already know what we gonna do. Most of the time, men, you talk yourself out of it, okay? You talk yourself out of it, okay? But that's another subject. You already know what you want. You already know what you're expecting out of it. It doesn't take 5 and definitely not 10 years.
Right.
2 to 3 years max. Okay, and that's excessive. You already know, because by the 3rd year you're making plans on what we doing here.
Yeah, and I think if you're dating with intentions, then it definitely doesn't take that long. Now, if you're dating just to date, that's different. But if the two people are dating with the intention on marriage or with the intention on a future, it does not take 3, 4, 5 years to figure that out.
It doesn't. And then, you know what, a lot of times, and I've noticed this, on this being single, a lot of people tell you from jump what they are expecting. They say, I only wanna, I'm only looking for casual friendship. You know, believe them.
Absolutely.
Okay. Don't think, for the ladies in the audience, okay, don't think you can change their mind.
Cannot.
There is no way you can change their mind. Ain't no amount of putty gonna change their mind. Okay. Believe them when they say they only want to be friends. They only want a casual conversation. They only want to hook up, whatever. Believe them.
Yep.
Shaya say, is it true that men know within 6 months of dating? I'll answer for me. In 6 months, I can't tell if I want to marry you or not, but I definitely will know if you won't get married. I can't qualify you, but I can disqualify you in 6 months.
That's fair.
Yeah. Well, it won't take me 6 months for that. I mean, to be honest with you, I can tell within the first 30 days if you potentially could make the cut. I mean, just be honest about it. The way a person interacts with, because I'm real, the way they interact with people that they don't know, the way that they respond to their dad, the way that they speak about men that they've been with in the past. I'm real big on accountability. I don't think that there are any situations where one person is totally at fault at. So for me, if I meet a woman and she tells me point blank that everything that has happened to her was somebody else's fault, I kind of got a problem with that.
Yeah.
So within 6 months, I can't tell you for sure if we'll be together forever, but I can basically tell you what category you'll fit into. Whether it'll just be somebody that we just rocking with, or if it's just somebody that I'm gonna put in the friend circle, or if it's somebody that, like Samantha said, we just spending time together. It don't take forever. It don't take forever. It don't take forever.
Right.
Well, let me say this. If you, I don't want to step on no toes.
She got that Cassandra look on her face.
I definitely don't want to be disrespectful, but for me, if it's a long term, if you have a long term boyfriend, you've already submitted to something. You just don't know what it is.
Good point.
Also, don't do that, Ken. But you've accepted and you've submitted to something. You're just clueless about what it is, or you've accepted that he hasn't committed. My husband and I both said we knew we wanted to marry each other within the first 2 weeks.
Girl,
we knew
say that
we
again.
were going to marry each other.
Yep.
The only reason why we didn't get married right away is because of circumstances with us graduating college, and him being accepted to his graduate school. So the only thing we were waiting on was our next moves in our career together. So they do know early on whether or not you are the one, or like Ken said, they definitely know when you're not the one.
For me and my husband, we met in July. That following September, I came out here for my birthday, had a big party for me. And that night, one of his colleagues was like, "So are you and Earl getting married?" I said, "Absolutely." Earl said, "Hang on, wait a minute. Let me get there. You don't tell people that. You let me get there." But I knew it. I knew it. I was like, "Okay, I'll let you get there, babe." But yeah.
So, man, I have thoroughly enjoyed you ladies. I've taken an hour and a half of your time. I appreciate it. We definitely need to have a part 2 of this, because there's a lot of things that I didn't get to, and I didn't get Cassandra or LaWanda to act as bad as I wanted to. So
but there are blessings everywhere.
I'm a little bit disappointed I couldn't get more out of y'all. So we definitely gonna have to do it again. Put a little R-rated thing at the bottom of the screen just to warn people that shit about to get real. So,
oh my God.
Man, I appreciate you all. I appreciate everybody that was in the chats, everybody that made comments, everybody that shared this video. So I'll give everybody one opportunity for closing words, starting with Samantha.
I just want to say, like I said, believe them. Believe people when they say it the first time. Don't give a person multiple chances to prove to you what they said from the beginning, So I'm just gonna leave it at that.
Coach?
Well, Coach says submission is a strength. It's not a weakness. And Maisha, I wanted to say to you, because you mentioned your age and how long you would be willing to date before considering marriage, because you're not getting any younger, like you said. But I'm 43 and my baby is 3.
Oh, okay.
So, yes. So
That
you
gives
can
me
still do that thing. You have time. Don't settle and don't rush.
That's very important right there. Don't settle and don't rush. Very, very important. And again, because our topic tonight, it was submission. I would tell any woman, submission is a strength. It is not a weakness. It is not something you should fear. But the most important part is to submit to the right person. Because to me, full submission requires complete trust in your partner. Because that person has to have your back. Come hell or high water, you have to know with everything in your soul that person has you the same way you would have them. So there's nothing wrong with submission. And the other thing is, hope I don't step on any toes. If you've been with somebody long term, like 5-10 years, and they hadn't tried to put a ring on it, please move on. Stop wasting your time. You're not getting any younger.
Yeah.
Unless you don't want to get married.
Maisha?
I will piggyback on what Cassie say. There's nothing wrong with submitting. Just make sure you submit to the right person. Make sure that person has a strong sense of who they are as a person. If they don't know who they are as a person, there's nothing that they can offer to you. They can't understand you. They can't lead you. They can't be the foundation that you need. If they do not know who they are as a person, it's not going to work. So I enjoyed all y'all today, even though I'm probably more shy than everyone else on this panel. So I'm very proud of myself.
I'm the most shy person on this panel.
I'm
I
very proud
enjoyed
of
y'all as well.
Yeah, I enjoyed y'all.
Yeah. And I'm
So
an
look,
introvert. I know nobody can tell that, but I'm an introvert. I hate talking. And this was fun.
Me too.
Cassandra, you talk a lot with your face, though. You don't really have to say a
I
whole lot.
know, right? And look, I used to work with a director at Blue Cross, and we would be in meetings together, and she would kick me under the table when we. She was like, "Hold your head down. Everybody know what you're thinking."
So I really just want us, when I say us, I mean us as a people, to get to a point to where we begin to value relationships more. We live in an environment right now where, you know, men and for women, we glorify the independent lifestyle. Um, Men have gotten to a point to where it seemed like that they blame everything that's wrong with society and relationships on women.
Women, on
Women
Black women.
Yeah, women have gotten to a point to where they've almost lost faith in men and feel that they can do everything by themselves. And I know for a fact that we're better together. I know for a fact that you know, the nuclear household is something now that I think is under attack. We know that you know, even with raising kids, that it's easier when you have both parents in the household. Um, the government shows us that there are tax benefits to being married. So I mean, even the government is showing us in so many ways that they want us to be married. The Bible speaks highly of marriage and union. So I just think that we need to get to a point to where, number one, I firmly believe that everything begins with us as men. That we have to lay a foundation where women feel comfortable with submitting and following our lead. We can't get mad when women don't follow us if we haven't given them something worthy of following. So I just believe that everything begins and ends with men and their leadership. So until the men step up and start doing the things that they need to do, it's kind of hard for me to really get mad at women that say they have a problem with submitting. And even for men that do the right thing, if a woman is not willing to submit to you, then that may not be the person for you. But biblically, that does not take you off the hook for what you're responsible for. It's just not that person that you're supposed to lead. That's my 2 cents on that. If you agree with me, let me know in the comments. If you disagree with me, let me know in the comments. That's going to be it for tonight, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to do this thing again probably Tuesday. I think I have a conversation. They have an interview with an entrepreneur set up for Tuesday. And very, very soon, I'm going to have a male panel just like this talking about relationships. And some of the guys that I have that I'm going to bring on this panel, they come from all gambits of life. I got professionals, I got military guys, I got service workers, and it's just going to be an awesome time to hear men sit down and have conversations, mature conversations about what we feel in regards to relationships, what we feel as it pertains to ladies, you know, what we feel when it comes to our role as men. It's going to be a very mature conversation. I'm being very selective about who I put on this panel because I think that men are already being portrayed in the wrong way. And I don't want to bring on the wrong people who just further perpetuate that stereotype. So I'm doing a very, very selective job of making sure I got the right mix of people. I got people who I know are going to represent us well and get them on this panel so that we can have this conversation. So I appreciate everybody that joined. Subscribe to the channel, like this video. And I mean, I know y'all know somebody that needed to hear this word tonight. Or as the pastor would say, this word. Y'all knew somebody needed to hear this word tonight. So go ahead and share this video. And until next time, everybody have an absolutely phenomenal night, phenomenal week. And we will see you all on the next conversation. Peace.
Good night.